Hello friends, welcome to 2D Games with Unity tutorial series. Let me double click on Unity icon. Let me click on Unity 2D demo project to open it in Unity IDE. As we are discussing Introduction to Unity IDE, we left with only the toolbar. So we are going to discuss toolbar in this tutorial. The gray area that you see here, it is known as toolbar. I click on the help, click on Unity manual. I go to search box, I search for toolbar. I click on the search button here and we got toolbar link. I click on it. Here we have toolbar. The toolbar consists of 5 basic controls, each relate to different parts of the editor. The first set of tools that you see here, they are known as transform tools. Transform means translate, rotate and scale. All together we say as transform. So here we have some transform tools. We are going to discuss about them. They are used for editing the scene. If I click on this, we can use these tools to edit the current scene. First of all, I click on the hand tool. Now hand tool is used for navigating around the scene. Maybe you might have a very large scene. Then you want to navigate around the scene. You want to see some specific part of the scene. Then you can use the hand tool. All you need is hold the left mouse button and start dragging until you see that specific part. You can let go the left mouse button and you can again click drag and see the scene. So this is how you can navigate around the scene. There are other options which help us to navigate around the scene. If I click on this 2D button here, now it indicates actually we are in the 2D mode. If I click on this, we switch to 3D mode. You can see that Unity switched the scene to 3D mode. If I click on the main camera, this is how it looks. You can navigate around by using the hand tool, of course. You have also some other shortcut keys that you can use. If I hold the Alt key and I hold the left mouse button, if I move the mouse towards left, I can rotate the 3D world. You can see that. If I move the mouse towards right, it rotates like this. If I click and move the mouse towards left, it rotates like this. So that is how you can rotate around the world. If you want to zoom in and zoom out, you can use the mouse middle roller button. So you can roll. If I roll forward, zoom in. If I roll backward, zoom out. If you hold the Alt key, temporarily it brings the eye icon to rotate around the world. Let me go to 2D mode again and I hold the Alt key. You can see that I don't get the rotation available, the rotation icon. That is, the eye icon is not enabled in the 2D mode. Only it is available in the 3D mode. You can see that. In 3D mode I get the eye icon. If I click on the 2D mode, I won't get the eye icon if I hold the Alt key on. You can only pan around. You can navigate around like this in the 2D mode, because in 2D mode the camera is locked to X and Y axis. Try to understand. If you want, you can zoom in and zoom out. You can use the mouse roller button to zoom in and zoom out. There is no problem. Okay, let's proceed further. Before we proceed to understand these tools, I would like to talk about Unity's coordinate system. Here, towards right we have positive X axis, towards up we have positive Y axis, down you get negative Y axis, left you get negative X axis. You can see that the camera is exactly placed at X value 0, Y value 0 and Z is negative 10. That means there is a Z axis also. If I switch to 3D mode, you will see the Z axis. Here the camera is present. It is at X0, Y0, Z is negative 10. That means Z is actually inside the computer. Towards us we have Z negative, towards us. You can also see here there is a gizmo that tells you in which direction the X is, Y is and Z is. The red color triangle indicates the X axis. It indicates X is in this direction, towards right, and Y is towards up. And where is Z? Let me show that. I hold the Alt key and rotate it a little bit to see the Z also. You can see that Z is inside the computer, towards the computer, and negative z is towards us. Negative z is towards us. You can change this value to see the negative value. So if I say negative 15, now camera is coming towards us, right? Negative 10 if I give, the camera is moving towards forward. You can give more values, 1, you can give 2, you can give 5. You can see that the camera is moving forward. So positive z is inside the computer, negative z is towards us. Let me set back to negative 10. Then I switch back to 2D mode. So hope you guys have understood Unity's coordinate system. X is towards right, Y is towards up, Z is inside the computer. Here you can see that there is a grid visible. So if I zoom out, you can see there is a grid. We have vertical lines, you can see here. Also we have horizontal lines, right? Now this place is the origin. This is the origin. You will be having x0, y0 here. Then you towards this side, you can see the x is positive. Let me zoom in and show you 1 unit. Where is 1 unit? So here, this is 1 unit. This one is 2 units. This one is 1 unit. This one is 2 units. This one is 3 units. Now this side, positive 1 unit, positive 2 units. This side you will be getting negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. So that is the graph. You can think like it is a graph, a 2D graph that you use in math. Now if I have to move the camera towards right, I want to place it here. All I need is I need to go to the transform position, x value. If I say 1, it moves towards right. If I say 2, you can see that it has moved towards right. So let me set it back to 0. And if I say here negative 1, you can see that it is now at negative 1 unit. So you can say negative 2. I can set it back to 0. Upward, if I have to move, I have to say y value 1. You can see that it has moved 1 unit up. If I say here negative 1, it will move 1 unit down. So here you have negative 1, negative 2, negative 3 y value. Let me set it back to 0. So if you need to translate, you can use this transform tool to position in a proper place according to your requirement on this 2D graph. Also you have here rotation, scale. Let's see them. I click on this project panel, and before I explain how these tools work, I'm going to bring one asset into this assets folder. I'm going to right click here, create one folder. I say sprites, sprites, and in this sprites folder we are going to bring images. I click on start, I click on run button, and I say here MS Paint. I click on OK button. Now we have the MS Paint open. I resize the image. I click on this resize button. I click on pixels. I deselect maintain aspect ratio. Then I click on horizontal text box. I say 100 pixels I want in horizontal, and in vertical I need 100 pixels. I click on OK button. You can see that the image got resized to 100 by 100. I click on file. I go to save as. I click on JPEG here. I am going to save the image on desktop with the name player, P-L-A-Y-E-R. Then I click on save button. You can see that the player image is created on the desktop. I want to bring that image in my project. So all I need is I click on the player image and drag it to the sprites folder. I leave it in the sprites folder. So if I click here, you can see that I got the player available. Now if I click on the player, you can see that the texture type is set to sprite 2D. So any image that you bring in a 2D project, its texture type set to sprite. So that is the reason I have given the folder name also sprite. In 3D mode, the images are bought, or the texture type will be texture. Instead of sprite, you will see here texture. We discuss later difference between 2D mode and a 3D mode. At present, you remember that your image in 2D mode called as a sprite. If I want to bring this image in my game, all I need is click and hold this player image and bring it to this hierarchy panel. If I let go the left mouse button, you can see that it is bought in the scene. Now in the scene you have the player, and player game object is created. So we have two game objects now. One is the main camera, another one is the player. Now the player is also positioned at x0, y0, z0. That means player is positioned exactly at the origin, whereas camera is towards us. Its z is negative 10. You can see that. If I switch the 2D mode to 3D mode, you can see that camera is nearer to us and the player is far away from us. You can see that. And also you can see the preview here. I click on the player and focus by pressing the F key. The player is here. Now we are in the 3D mode. Let me go to 2D mode again. So here we have the player. Now we understand these tools. We have here the translate tool. If I click on the translate tool, you will see a translation gizmo here. If I click on this, see that we got a gizmo. This indicates the translation, or you can say it's an icon or a sign for translation. We know that if I need to translate this player 1 unit towards right, I can go to transform position. I can say here x equal to 1. It moves towards right? Let me set this back to 0. You can also use this gizmo to translate. Instead of using these text boxes, all you need is, if you want to move it towards right, click on this red arrow. This indicates the X handle. I click and move it towards right. You can see that X is set to 1. I can move it back. I can move towards left side, and you can see that X is set to negative 1.00 something. So you can use these tools to translate left or right. If you want to translate up and down, you need to use the Y handle to translate up and down. You can see the Y value is changing here. You can see if I'm moving up, the Y value becomes positive. If I move down, the Y value becomes negative. I'm going to set everything back to 0, 0, 0, 0. So hope you guys have understood what is translate tool, how it is used to translate the game object or selected game object. If you click on the main camera, gizmo will be available on the main camera. Let me focus. You can see that you have the gizmo here. You can move the camera itself towards right, left. You can move up and down the camera. You can see the preview also in the scene. Let me set the camera back to 0, 0, negative 10. Let me click on the player and focus again. So as we are in the 2D mode, we are seeing only two handles, right handle and up handle. Also you can switch to 3D mode to get the another handle, that is forward handle we say, or the Z handle. You can move forward and backward also. And also you can see the Z values. If I am moving forward, Z is becoming positive. If I am moving backward, Z is becoming negative. Let me set it back to 0. Hope you guys have understood. Let me switch back to 2D mode. And now I select the rotation tool. If I click on the rotation tool, you will see rotation gizmo. Rotation gizmo looks like this. Here you can see, if I switch back to 3D mode, you have 4 circles actually. You can see there is a red circle that helps you to rotate around x-axis. So red rotation around x-axis. You have a green circle here that helps you to rotate around y-axis. There is a blue circle that is used for rotation around z-axis. If we are in a 2D mode, we can rotate around z-axis. We know that z is towards the computer, so I can rotate around z-axis. And also you can see the value in the rotation z text box. So if I move up, the z is positive. You can see z is positive. If I move down, then z is negative. So if you want to rotate, all you need is click on the blue line or a blue circle and rotate. So in 2D mode, actually we are locked to rotation around z-axis. Now we are rotating around z-axis. Let me set it back to 0. Also you have rotation around x-axis, rotation around y-axis. You can see here you have a green circle and here you have the red circle. Let me switch back to 3D mode and show you. Now this is x-axis. If I want to rotate around x-axis, all I need is click on this red line or red circle and start rotating. You can see that I am rotating around x-axis. If you want to rotate around y-axis, you need to click on this green circle and rotate. So understand this. If I click on 2D mode, let me set everything back to 0, 0, 0, and let me click on the player again and see the gizmo, and I click on this green circle to rotate around x-axis. You can rotate in 2D mode also, you can see that. Let me set everything back to 0. So here we understood rotation tool. Also next we have the scale tool. If I click on the scale tool, you will see the scale gizmo. Let me click on that. So scale gizmo look like this. or scale symbol looks like this. If I switch to 3D mode, you have scale in X, scale in Y, scale in Z. So red indicates X, green indicates Y, and blue indicates Z. Let me switch back to 2D mode. And if you want to scale, all you need is hold down this gizmo and start dragging towards right. You can see that it is scaling both the directions. You can scale in Y also, and also you can observe transform scale in X, transform scale in Y. Observe here. And if I scale, you can see that the Y value is changing in the inspector. You can see, and also X value is changing in the inspector. So you can scale the object. Even you can scale in the negative also. We discussed about negative scaling and all little bit later. So let me say 1, say 1. By default, scale in X, scale in Y, scale in Z will be 1. So hope you guys have understood what is scaling, how it is useful to scale the selected game object. There is the last tool which is known as rect transform tool. Now rect transform tool is actually used to perform translate, rotate and scale all three operations. If I click on this, you will see a rectangle box around your game object. If you want to move or translate, all you need is click and move it wherever you want. Click and move it. Click and move it. So you can move around your 2D graph. Let me set it back to 0. Hope you guys have understood how do you move your game object by using the rect transform tool. If you want to rotate, all you need is go to the corner until you see a small circle or a rotation symbol below the mouse pointer. Then you click and rotate. You can see that the rotation in Z value in the inspector is changing. Check in the inspector. See the rotation Z value changing, right? Let me set it back to 0. So hope you guys have understood how do we rotate. Then how do we scale? If you want to scale, all you need is you can click on this control and scale. This is how you are going to scale the object. If you hold down here on the border and drag, it will scale like this. Scale this direction, you can scale. So that is how you can use this transform tools. So that is what we have here. Transform tools used with the scene view. Of course, we use these tools with the scene view to edit the scene. So that is all about transform tools. We discuss more about transform tools and other controls in the next tutorial. So for this tutorial, this much is enough, friends. In the next tutorial, we get more information. For more benefits, please subscribe, like, comment and share. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. See you in the next tutorial. Keep learning, keep coding, keep sharing.